what will be your sample size if your population is unknown? This is the question that we are going to answer in this video today. So let's say, for example, you are conducting a study in an entire state or in a community, and then you don't know the number of your population. The formula that you're going to use is the Cochran formula, and I'm going to define each variable in this formula and how to get each number that you are going to substitute for this variable in your calculation. Now, the first one is the n. Now, the n is simply your sample size. Now, we don't know your sample size. That's what you are trying to calculate. So now let's move on to the Z. Now the Z is the Z-score. Now what the Z-score does that it helps to determine how confident you are that your sample size falls within your true population. Now all we are saying is how confident do you want to be after you've conducted your study? How confident do you want to be that these people that answered your questionnaire are your true population? And since we are talking about confidence level, this Z-score has a standard statistical table where you can get your value from. So on your screen, you can see the table. If you're going for 90% confidence level, you have a corresponding number that you're going to use in your calculation. If you're going for 95, the same thing. And if you're going for 99, the same thing, it has a corresponding value that you are going to use in your calculation. So most commonly, we use 95% or 99%. But for this video, we are going to be using 95%. And the value that we'll be using in our calculation is 1.96. Now the next variable is your P. Now the P stands for assumed proportion. Now you get this value from a previous research similar to yours. So for example, if you are studying something that has to do with nurses' satisfaction with their job or dissatisfaction, you are going to go online and look for a research that's similar to yours and look at what they found, and you're going to change that percentage that they found to proportion and use it in your calculation. So for example, if we are studying nurses' dissatisfaction with their job, this particular paper that I pulled out recorded that 79.3% of the nurses are dissatisfied with their salary and working conditions. So what we are going to do now is we are going to turn this percentage into proportion by dividing it by 100, and then we are going to have 0.793. That is what we are going to use in our calculation. Now let's say, for example, there is no previous research, you are the first one. What you are going to use is you are going to use 50%. Now why you are using 50% is because it's going to give you the maximum sample size that you need for your study. Your sample size is not going to be too low, it's not going to be too high, it's in the middle. It's going to give you what you need, and it is widely accepted. You are going to use 50%. Now you divide it by 100, you are going to have 0.5, and that's what you're going to use in your calculation. Now the next variable is Q, and this Q is the opposite of P. So if we are studying nurses' dissatisfaction, now our P, remember we said, is 0.793. These are the people that are not satisfied with their salary and their working condition. Now since our Q is the opposite of P, meaning if we do 1 minus P, we are going to get the number of nurses who are satisfied with their job. We are going to have 0.207. Now sometimes you see 1 minus P directly in this formula, but sometimes you see Q. So if you see Q, it means you should do 1 minus P to have your Q. So in case there is no previous research as well, you did not get your P from the previous study, if you use 50%, which is 0.5, you are going to do 1 minus 0.5, and then you are going to have 0.5 as your Q. Now the next variable is the E, which is the margin of error. Now what E is asking you is simple. It's just asking, how much error are you willing to tolerate in your research? Can you tolerate 5% error, 10% error? So mostly we go with 5% error. So if we are going with 5% error, we are going to divide it by 100, change it to proportion, then we are going to have 0.05, and that 0.05 is what we are going to use in our calculation. So now let's do the calculation together. So I have a paper with me here and a pen here. So for now, you're not going to be seeing my face. We are going to focus on calculating our sample size together. So the sample size is N is equal to Z score times P times Q divided by E square. Now we are going to substitute the values now. We're going to have N is equal to 1.96, which is the value for our Z score. And then P, remember in our example, we said P is 0.793. So times 0.793. And then our Q, remember when we did 1 minus P, which is 1 minus 0.793, we got 0.207. So we are going to divide this by our E, which is our margin of error, which we agreed on 5%, which when you turn it to proportion is going to be 0.05 square. So now we are going to square this. The Z score has squared, so we're going to square it. So we're going to have N is equal to 3.8416. Then we are going to times this one with this one. So when you do 0.793 times 0.207, you are going to have 0.164 as your answer. So going to divide it by our margin of error. So we are going to square this as well, and then when you do it, you're going to have 0.0025. N is equal to 3.8416 times 0.164 is 0.630. Now divide by 0.0025. So N is equal to 252. So this is our sample size using this first example. Now let's say that we don't have previous data. There is no previous published data, and we are going to use 0.5, that which is 50% for our P. So if you calculate it, you are going to get 384 or 385 if you approximate it. Now, if this video really helped you, like and subscribe to this channel and watch this video if you are writing your chapter 3. It's about the errors that you're supposed to avoid in your chapter 3. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.